What it do, sucker fish? It's your boy, Robbie. I am Robbie Clark. Welcome back to Let's Review. As of recording this, only one episode has been posted. It was Sleepers. A lot of positive feedback. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I really do appreciate it. And now, into the good stuff. As always, I've got my... Fuck. Okay, now I've got my popcorn, and now I've got my peach nectarine Red Bull. Why am I doing this? And tonight's feature is Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, starring John Cusack, Kevin Spacey, and directed by the one and only Clint Eastwood. Okay, full disclosure on this one, guys. I have actually seen this more than once. I think like 2 or 3 times. It is in my top 10 favorite movies all time, but I have not seen it for probably 12 years, so I'm giving myself a pass on this one. After what happens in Vegas, I need to watch something good, so let's review. Hello, good morning. Full disclosure, this is a re-record. I watched the movie last night, tried to do my thing, didn't quite coalesce, and I wasn't happy with it. You know, I thought energy was low and my thoughts weren't cohesive, so I just decided give myself a redo, a mulligan, and here we are. Because you guys deserve nothing but the most adequate movie review ever. The show must go on, so here we go. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Directed by Clint Eastwood, as previously stated. A screenplay by John Lee Hancock, starring John Cusack, Kevin Spacey, Jack Thompson, Irma P. Hall, the Lady Chablis, Jude Law, Paul Hipp, and Alison Eastwood, which, by the way, if you're listening, Alison, marry me? She's so hot. Warning, from here on, here be spoilers. Minor spoilers, the movie also came out like 23 years ago, so if this ruins the movie for you, you've only got yourself to blame. Don't be lazy, go see more movies. I'm sorry, that was harsh. I love you. Thank you very much for watching. So this movie is a courtroom drama. It is a murder mystery, if you will. It's very much a whodunit, or why done it. Jim Williams, played by Kevin Spacey, is accused of murdering he doesn't really have a pool, but he's not a butler, so I'm just gonna say pool boy, Billy Hansen, played by Jude Law. The trial moves from, did Jim Williams kill Billy Hansen, to a character trial, because this is Savannah, Georgia, in the mid-90s, and Jim Williams is a semi-closeted homosexual.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
But in Savannah, Georgia at the time, well, you know, the South is kind of dumb.
You smell like the inside of my mama's purse.
So it goes from a trial for murder to a trial of character. I'm going to start with some of the problems I have with this movie, if that's okay. Get the bitching out of the way early. First off, fuck this guy, Bob Gunton. He plays Finley Largent. He is the plaintiff, the, I guess, accuser, the people in People Versus or whatever. I don't know how courtrooms work. I want to say he's the plaintiff. Could be way off base. But also, he gave Andy Dufresne a hard time as the warden. That dick. He was also a dick to Ace Ventura. So there's that. This guy, fuck this guy. Also, this dude, Richard Hurd, will never not be from Seinfeld. You see somebody, you associate him with it, it's from Seinfeld. Whatever. How dare you take away George's promotion to the Mets?
Wait, Mr. Steinbrenner. George doesn't deserve any of the blame for what happened in the parking lot today, sir. No, sir. I ordered George to drive around insulting people today.
Well, you're fired.
I wanted to get fired. George, you are looking at the new head scout of the New York Mets. Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Come right out and beat the Mets.
How dare you? Also, sometimes, and I hate to say it because I love him as an actor, but John Cusack just reminds me of Eli Manning. Mouth breather. Sometimes it's distracting on screen. I want to say a real criticism, but not really because it doesn't matter, is that there are a few differences from the novel to the movie, but it's really just a couple of names being changed and some lines of dialogue being given to other people. It's really, honestly, I don't have much to say about this movie. Some of the southern accents are a little fake. Forced. The juju used by Minerva, played by Irma P. Hall, is like her accent's a little tough to understand, but really that's it. Other than that, it's a very well done movie. The genre, as stated before, is a murder mystery with an air of the supernatural because Minerva does use some black magic, voodoo, hoodoo, juju, whatever. And this is what I was talking about with What Happens in Vegas when it's just a rom-com and doesn't try to be anything else. This tries to be a crime, murder, mystery thriller, but it adds that extra layer of the supernatural. It's almost like if the movie Clue snorted a line of the concept of black magic. I love what this movie did for that particular genre. The supporting cast is fantastic. Yeah, Kevin Spacey and John Cusack knock it out of the park, as they always do, but Jude Law, in I think one of the first films of his career, has maybe 1.5 scenes, and he kills it. He's fucking phenomenal in this movie. With the brief time that we get to see him, he's amazing. Irma P. Hall as Minerva, as we already said, plays kind of a witch doctor apothecary type thing. She's only got 2.5 scenes, but she grabs you when she's a little hard to understand, but when, like, her presence alone is enough to make you watch. Like, words be damned, she can command the screen. She's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Let's talk Lady Chablis, who essentially plays herself in the movie, is a scene stealer. Any scene she's in, you can't not focus on her. She, even up against John Cusack, a lot like Irma P, but tried doubling that by like 5. There are a couple of times when Lady Chablis kind of gets a little out of hand, annoying, over the top. Ordinarily, I'd have a problem with that, but when it's part of the character and it's inherent to the character and it's not the actor doing what an actor shouldn't do, it's a little easier to understand and a little easier to get over. I loved her. Also, fun fact, this is the first time in cinema history, to my knowledge, according to iAmRobbie, that a transgender actor played a transgender character in a major motion picture. I think that's pretty cool. John Cusack plays a man named John Kelso, a writer from New York, who comes down to Savannah really just to cover one of Jim Williams' Christmas parties. Apparently they're a big deal, but he winds up getting absorbed into the community really quickly. He meets everybody, he talks to everybody. He's rightfully the centerpiece of the movie because he's got this quality where he can and does talk to anybody and everybody. He's inquisitive, he's smart, he's observant. He starts as a writer and kind of morphs into a detective along the way. Everybody in Savannah is ready to accept him, and it makes the plot move ahead faster and a little smoother than if there was any sort of resistance. Like, he's there, no one's putting up a fight against an outside stranger, he's one of them. Which, if you had that added tension of like, we don't talk to outsiders now, come on, sport, we don't do that around these parts, bad accent, it would slow the movie down way more than it already is. And it is here that the battery ran out on my Tascam, so if the audio changes, that would be why. I am woefully ill-prepared for this one. Never again. And speaking of that, the pace is one of my favorite things about the movie. It's a very slow burn. It crawls, it creeps, there's no action. There's no real speed up until Kelso starts really not just talking to people, but interviewing people about the murder case. It's not the kind of movie that you want to watch to stay awake. It's not the kind of movie that you want to watch and be like, whoa, it's the kind of movie you want to watch when you just want to see a good-ass story. It has its start, and it has its end, and it continuously moves... This way, right? It continuously moves, but it's barely an incline. It moves towards a climax, and it's not a beat you over the head climax. It's just, this is the logical end to the trial, but the way they get there is it's a brain picker, really is what it is. And you learn about the entire city. You learn about who's on whose side, who believes what, who supports or doesn't support Jim Williams. You get it all over 2.5 hours, but it's a movie that doesn't feel like it's 2.5 hours. Again, it's a very slow-paced movie, but it moves quickly, if that makes any sense. I've seen movies that are an hour and a half and feel like they're 5 hours long. I've also seen movies that are 3 hours long that feel like an hour and a half. This is one of those movies. If you have 2.5 hours out of your day and watch a good, solid movie, this is it. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil is what you want to watch if you want a movie that has a slow ascent to the finale. It's amazing. It's well crafted, well put together. It's a very beautiful film. The cool thing about this movie is that it is essentially made up of tiny vignettes that tell the story piece by piece. I just used the example of a very shallow incline, but it's more like steps. There are a lot of steps to this movie, and you'll find a character here and you won't see them again for another 15, 20 minutes, and they further the story. Like, everything has a purpose. Every character has a reason to be there. Also, while we're at it, back to the supporting cast, everyone has a moment to shine. It's very much an ensemble movie with 2 lead actors. It's awesome. You get all these small, minor plots that get woven together to form one bigger story. And it's really fucking phenomenal because you get to see the layers, you get to see who people are within the trial and also outside of the trial. You learn a lot about the town as a whole in this movie. You've also got the romance between John Kelso and Mandy, whatever her last name is, played by Alison Eastwood, who, Alison, if you're watching, please marry me. These smaller stories within the movie as a whole, you get the bigger picture. It's not focused just on Jim Williams, it's focused on his influence over the city, the people he's met, and it makes it more realistic when Kelso has that shift to detective because he's learned so much about the community that it's easier to say, wait a second, hold on, hold up, oh dip! And the friendships that he makes along the way, they all wind up helping him in some way or another. These people are willing to help an outsider really for no reason other than he asks for it. That's it. No one that we meet really has anything at stake other than Jim Williams, but John Kelso kind of rallies them to get them to him to help Williams.
Help me. Help you.
Help me to help you, Barbie. Help me to help you. Help me to help you.
You think to yourself, fuck, 2.5 hours. The fuck is this shit? There is nothing in this movie that I would consider fluff. It's all important, it's all necessary, it's all there, the pace is necessary. You can't go faster than you do, otherwise you'll miss something. It's a great way to watch the same story that we see countless times anymore these days in 2020, back in 1997. It's fresh. It's the same thing but different, which you're always looking for in a movie. You always want the same thing but different. And this movie heavily delivers on that concept. The ending is open to interpretation, and I love that about this film because yes, you could think that Jim Williams would just have a heart attack, but there's a reason why the trial is set up as, did he shoot Billy Hansen in self-defense or did he kill him just to kill him? There's also, did Billy shoot first or was the safety on? And you've also got the element of black magic and communing with the dead, and there's the scene at the very end when Jim Williams has a heart attack, but you hear the sound of a gunshot as he clutches his chest, and when he falls to the ground, he sees Billy Hansen. Hallucination? Maybe, but it doesn't change the fact that there's that pinch of supernatural in the recipe of this movie that leaves the ending pretty ambiguous. Did Billy Hansen have anything to do with it? Did Minerva have anything to do with it? Was it just a regular heart attack? And that's I love that mostly about movies, is when it's up to viewer interpretation. Personally, this is just me, I think Billy Hansen had a hand in his death. I believe it was a supernatural, magical death. Not magical, that's too happy. Mystical. Shake your ass! A mystical death. Yes, exactly. So all that taken into consideration, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, absolutely in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I give this a 9 out of 10. Will absolutely watch again. Like I said, I saw it like 12 years ago. I forgot how great this movie was. I forgot how beautifully constructed this puzzle of a movie is. I'm gonna watch it again soon. Probably. Easily in my top 10 all time. I think it's one of Clint Eastwood's best. I think it's one of Kevin Spacey's best. God, I wish he didn't decide to diddle little boys. That's a problem. That's disgusting. It is still one of Kevin Spacey's best. It's absolutely one of John Cusack's bests, aside from looking like Eli Manning from time to time. I will never get over that. Great movie. Check it out. Heavily recommend. 9 out of 10. And now, it is time for the famous segment, Robbie's Life Advice. And today's life advice, based on Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, is this. Stay away from black magic. Stay away from that voodoo, hoodoo, juju. Ooh. Stay away from it. It leads to nothing but bad things. Like if you shoot your pool boy, you'll die of a freak heart attack that sounds like a gunshot. There's nothing good. Just like nothing good happens after 2 a.m., nothing good happens when you deal with the black magic man. Don't do it. Just don't do it. If you want to do anything, stay in the real world. Look, don't do it. I know it might sound enticing, but nothing. Have you ever seen Supernatural? Like season 3 is all about hellhounds and hoodoo and yeah, don't do it. Shit'll fuck you up. So you heard it here. If you do it, it's on you, but you heard it here. Stay the fuck away from black magic. It's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it. It's right up there with heroin and meth and cocaine. Don't do it. Stay away. It's not healthy. Shit'll fuck you up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Let's Review. I am Robbie Clark. You can find me and everything related to the Cinema Soapbox in the links provided in the description. An extra special thanks to my buddy Ryan, who suggested this movie. Yeah, I'm reaching out to my friends. I got that big old stack of movies. I'm gonna send a picture to some people. Hey, pick a couple of these. So if I holler at you, holler back. Help me out with this, because I don't want to pick the movies. Speaking of movies, this is 5 down, 132 more to go. That was Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. This is Let's Review. I am Robbie Clark, and I'll see you next time, sucker fish! Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Well, not doing it all again.